This has a long history. It traces back to your childhood in a very compelling moment. Do you mind telling me?
We had a beautiful script written by Theodore Sturgeon, wonderful science fiction writer. The script was called Amok Time, A-M-O-K, Amok Time. And it was lovely. It was poetic, it was exciting, it was dramatic. And it was about Spock having to go home to his home planet of Vulcan to be married, to fulfill a marriage betrothal. And go home or die was the story. And Kirk had to get Spock to his home planet to save his life. So when we got there, we discovered that the wedding ceremony is to be performed by a character named T'Pau, played by Celia Lovsky, a wonderful Viennese actress. And she's the matriarch of the planet. She's a powerful figure on Vulcan. And I'm to approach her, and I'm very sensitized to the idea that we're seeing other Vulcans for the first time. Right. We're on the Vulcan planet for the first time. What's Vulcan all about? Right. What are the mores of the culture? What can I find? What can I show an audience or bring to an audience about the Vulcan people? So as I'm approaching her, and we say hello to each other, and she says, "Welcome home," and I don't remember exactly what I said. What the dialogue was, but I said to the director, I think we need something that Vulcans do when they greet each other, because humans have certain kinds of things that we do. We shake hands, we salute each other, we bow to each other in certain cultures. He said, "What would you like to do?" And that's where I came up with this. Wow. And it came from an experience that I had that obviously made a big impression on me, because it happened when I was about 8 or 9 years old. I was in a synagogue with my family, in an Orthodox synagogue. The men sitting downstairs, the women upstairs in the balcony, with my grandfather, my father, and my brother and myself. Comes a point in the service where a group of men, I think there must have been 5 or 6 of them, is my memory. They are called Kohanim. They are members of the priestly tribe of the Hebrews. At this particular moment, they get up in front of the congregation, face the congregation from the stage, what's known as the bima in Hebrew, and they chant a particular prayer, which translates into, "May the Lord bless you and keep you. May the Lord cause his countenance to shine upon you. May the Lord turn his graciousness unto you and grant you peace." They were chanting it in Hebrew. Right. And I'm too young to know what it meant. I'm too young to know why they were gesturing, but they were doing this with their hands facing the congregation. And while they were doing that, my dad was saying to me, "Don't look." Well, there's this crazy, fervent chanting going on. They're shouting this prayer in Hebrew, and they're shaking and they're rocking. It was kind of a frenzy. And I peeked. I saw what they were doing, and I immediately went to work to learn how to do that. Yeah. I had no idea why they were doing it, and much later I found out that this is the shape of the letter Shin in the Hebrew alphabet, which is the first letter of the word Shaddai, which is a name for God. Right. So the sense is they're using a symbol of God's name as they bless the congregation with that blessing. And you're not supposed to look, because I was told many years later that during that benediction, the Shekhinah, also starts with a Shin, sure, comes into the sanctuary to bless the congregation. Oh. And this is the feminine aspect of God. And you don't want to see her, because the light that emanates from a deity could hurt you, could blind you, or even worse. So we introduced it that day. The director said, "Okay, let's do that." Wow. And that's how it got into the show. And immediately on the street, people started doing that. I thought, whoa, we've touched something. It's one of those magic things that happen sometimes when you present an idea and a big yes comes back. It's been a big yes ever since.
A big yes, absolutely. Yeah. Absolutely.